All right, guys. So let's go ahead and do the last part of today. So let's go ahead and do the Punnett Square stuff today. Finish it up. So after we finish up with the Punnett Square today, hey guys, let's go ahead and finish the last part of today. So after I finish the Punnett Square part, you guys can pretty much head out today. I do want to get you guys started on it because on Wednesday you're gonna have a worksheet to kind of work on for the Punnett Squares, and so it's a little bit different than it was from last time for the old Punnett Squares. It's still the same principle. This is a little bit different. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the Canvas page, and I'm gonna go to number 3 where it has the non-Mendelian notes. Okay, so I'm gonna click on number 3 where it says non-Mendelian notes. So you don't have to stay with me. You can just look at my screen. You don't have to do your own like screen if you don't want to. Okay, but again, guys, it's very important that I go over this part because that project, your pedigree project, is gonna be due on Friday, and then you're gonna have to do on your e-learning day. You're gonna do a little bit of some Punnett squares with a non-Mendelian trait. So you gotta know how to do it to be able to do it for Wednesday. Okay. Okay. So let me explain how this works. So if you guys remember me talking about pedigree or Punnett squares, I told you it's always one trait to one trait. I told you it's always gonna be one to one trait. Like I kind of lied a little bit because it's not always one to one trait. Because not everything in the world is just one trait. Not everything in the world is just like perfect. Okay. There are some things that are mixed. There's some things that coexist. So pedigrees, I'm sorry, Punnett squares do the same thing, and I'm going to explain how that works. Okay, so when you're talking about these non-Mendelian traits, okay, when you're doing these word problems, it has to tell you that it's non-Mendelian. And what does that mean? It means it's either incomplete or it's a co-dominant type of problem. It has to tell you that. It has to tell you that. Okay. If it doesn't tell you that, then just be a normal Punnett square problem. Okay. If you see incomplete or co-dominant, you know it's going to be one of those kind of problems. Okay. So the word incomplete dominance and codominance, it's just what it sounds like. They're always going to be capital letters. They're always going to be dominant. There are no recessive traits in these problems. They're all capital letter because they're all dominant. Okay. So it means they don't follow the normal rules. They follow a little bit different rules because not everything in the world is the same. Okay. Because different things can be mixed, different things can be together. It's not always going to be the same. Okay. So when you combine traits or you mix traits, is what we're going to talk about. Okay. So Kendall, I know I already did this before, but can I use an example? Okay. So Valentine's Day is coming up. Okay. So Kendall wants to get Bay some flowers, right? But he wants to go big this year. He doesn't want to just get her regular old red roses, or he doesn't want to get her white roses. He wants to get her some pink roses. Okay. So incomplete dominance is an example of mixed traits or blended together. Okay. So let's say Kendall wants to get her some pink roses. Okay. So if I have a red rose and a white rose and I mix them together, what color rose would I make? It might tell me. Yes, I make pink. Okay. So if I have a red rose and a white rose, I'm going to make a pink rose, and that's what he wants. He wants to make a pink rose. He wants to be a little bit different this year, spice it up a little bit. Okay. So when you see the word incomplete dominance, okay, hey ladies, here, so you know what you're doing. So incomplete dominance is going to be an example of mixed traits together. Okay. So if my genotypes for R is red and my genotypes for W is for white, if I put those two together, I'm mixing them together to be RW to make pink. So let's do an example of how this works. Okay. So this is an example of an incomplete dominant problem. So it's going to be incomplete dominance. I'm going to write that on there so you can see. So incomplete. So incomplete dominance means mixing traits together. Okay, so when I say mixing traits together, anything can be mixed. Any plant, any organism, anything can be mixed. Okay, for example, if you're two nationalities, like you're white and you're black, or you're Hispanic and white, or whatever the case might be, you have two different like dominant traits inside of you, so you're technically mixed, right? That's an example of incomplete dominance. So again, if I'm trying to make a pink rose and I have a red color, which is big R, and I have a white color, which is big W, So technically, since they're big, they're both capital letters. It doesn't matter where I put the W or the R. I can put them anywhere I want to. So let's say I do big W and then big W, and then let's say I do big R and big R. Okay? Doesn't matter where I put them at. So let's say every box is going to be big R, big R, big R, big R, and then I put the big W, big W, big W, big W. Okay? Everybody should know how to do that. That's just like a basic Punnett square. That's the same thing we always do. The same thing we always do. Okay? So it could have been big W or big R, or it could be big R, big W. Doesn't matter which one they are. Okay? So I have a red rose and I have a white rose, and now what's going to happen when I put them together? So what was the genotype inside of all the boxes? What would it be? Well, they all were big R, big W, or I could say big W, big R, and it was 100% because everyone was the same inside the boxes, right? Remember, inside the boxes, they were all the same. Okay, so that's my genotype. So what would my phenotype be? Again, if I had big R, which was red, and I mixed it with big W, which was white, and remember, in incomplete dominance, I mixed the traits. That's going to give me a pink flower at 100%. Okay, because every flower, I'm sorry, well, not every, yeah, every flower was red and white mixed together to make pink. So that means it'd be 100% for pink flower. Okay, that's my phenotype. That's the physical features. Okay, so that's an example of incomplete dominance, is when I mix traits together. Okay, and again, guys, how do you know when to do this? You have to read the examples or the instructions, and it will always tell you. It'll always tell you your examples, or in your examples what it is. Does anybody have any questions about incomplete dominance? Okay, remember, incomplete dominance when you mix your traits together. It's usually colors. It's usually colors. Okay, so the other example would be codominance. Okay, so codominance is not mixing together, but it's when both traits are expressed. Okay, anybody ever know what a Dalmatian is, right? A Dalmatian is a white dog with black spots. Okay, or I don't know if you're farm people or not, but if you ever go on a farm and you see like a cow or a bull or something like that, you see like a white cow with black spots, like that's a cow. Or you have a bull that's like white and black or black and brown. Okay, so codominance is when both traits are expressed. They're expressed equally. Okay, so they're not mixed together, but I can see two different colors or I can see two different traits. Okay, so codominance is when both are being expressed. So how will we do a codominance problem? Well, we do it exactly the same way as an incomplete dominance problem, right? So again, I don't know if you call it chickens or roosters. I don't know what you want to call them. I'm just gonna call them chickens, okay? But I have a white chicken and a black chicken. So big W would probably go with what color? So big W would be for the white chicken, and then big B would be the black chicken. Now, what happens if I have a black chicken and a white chicken and I have a codominance problem? Well, let's find out. So if I have big W, and then big B, all my boxes are going to be the same again. So they all be big B, big W, or big W, big B. Everybody see how we got that? Okay. So here's the hard part about this. Okay. So since it's codominant and they're blended together, I'm not blended together. What's a good way to say it? They're both expressed. Both expressed. How would I write that to explain the phenotype? Well, it's really easy. Okay. So I go to my genotype. So what's my genotype? Well, for the genotypes for the chickens, it'd be big B, big W, or BW at 100% because they're all the same. But how would I write the phenotype? Because remember, both have to be expressed. You can write it any way you want to describe it. So I could say a rooster that is white with black spots, or I could have said black stripes, or I could have said half white and half black. It does not matter as long as you have both of them as long as you can say both of them are being shown. It doesn't matter how you write it. Okay, I gotta say half black, half white. I gotta say white with black spots or black with white spots. Doesn't matter how you write it, as long as you know that incomplete or codominants are being expressed equally. What? Mm, I'm not a farm person. I don't know. Okay. So what does a spotted chicken look like? There you go, Trey. There's a spotted chicken for you. Okay. So everybody's seen a chicken with like multiple colors on it. Like it could like it's like brown, black, and white or something like that. Okay. Codominance just means I can see all the colors represented on that one organism. Okay. So they're all expressed equally. Okay. So just know, guys, that you will not see lowercase letters for incomplete or codominance because it's dominant for a reason. Remember, dominant means big. So you won't see recessive letters when you do codominance or incomplete dominance. It's only be capital letters. Okay? All right. So we're going to stop there on slide 10. We're going to stop on slide 10. Okay? So then anybody have any questions about codominance or incomplete dominance? We just did slides 1 through 11. So we're going to stop on slide 11. I'm sorry. So you might have any questions between slide 1 through 11 of codominance or incomplete dominance?
I don't.
Okay. All right. So just to finish out today, and then so for you guys who are at home, and then for you guys that are here, I'm finished for today. I just want to show you guys one more thing before you leave. Your Wednesday assignment is going to be completing the notes. So if you go back to your Canvas page and you go to number 5, it says non-Mendelian understanding your notes. It's like we did last time with those 5 easy questions about using your notes. All you got to do is use your notes to answer these questions. And I made them just for that reason, so you can use your notes to answer them. Okay. So make sure that you use the notes page. It stops at slide 11. So you're going to use slides 1 through 11 to answer the questions. So number 1 says, what's the difference between incomplete codominance? Number 2, what does co mean? So what does CO for the prefix co mean? Number 3, can you use lowercase letters to represent genotypes, why or why not? Number 4, incomplete dominance is when traits are blank, blank, blank. And then what's your example? So you're going to create your own example. And then write an example of a genotype and do the same thing for codominant. Okay? So this worksheet, I want you guys to work on this worksheet pretty much on Wednesday, and there's going to be a practice page of Punnett squares also on Wednesday. Okay? So those 2 things will be available for you to do on Wednesday. You can get started on them today if you want to, but they're really going to be for Wednesday when we have the e-learning day or the asynchronous day for iStep. Okay.